Symbology of the Bible, Volume 1. The Branch. To begin, let us visit the book of John. John 9 verse 5. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. 6. When he had thus spoken, he spat on the ground, and made clay of the spittle, and he anointed the eyes of the blind man with the clay. 7. And said unto him, Go, wash in the pool of Siloam, which is by interpretation, sent. He went his way, therefore, and washed, and came seeing. We have seen something similar before. Wash in the living water, and be healed. Siloam is a Greek word for the Hebrew Shiloh. Shiloh.
It is a compound of shil and yah. Sel is defined as used with prepositional prefix and often followed by some pronominal affix, on account of whatsoever, whichsoever.
We can interpret verse 7 as Yahshua telling the man to cleanse himself spiritually on account of Yah, and he did, so did. Here is what the living water does. Isaiah 11 verse 1. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. The rod is a twig, and the branch is a shoot, a green new growth that will become the mightiest tree that has ever been on this planet.
Chotel. H2415. From an unused root of uncertain signification. A twig, rod. Giza. H1503. Geza. From an unused root, meaning to cut down trees, the trunk or stump of a tree, as felled or as planted, stem, stalk. Nitzil. H5342. Netzer. From H5341 in the sense of greenness, as a striking color, a shoot, figuratively a descendant, branch.
See another rod here. Exodus 4 verse 14. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses. And he said, Is not Aaron, the Levite, thy brother? I know that he can speak well. And also, behold, he cometh forth to meet thee. And when he seeth thee, he will be glad in his heart. 15. And thou shalt speak unto him, and put words in his mouth, and I will be with thy mouth, and with his mouth, and will teach you what ye shall do. 16. And he shall be thy spokesman unto the people, and he shall be, even he, shall be to thee instead of a mouth, and thou shalt be to him instead of God. 17. And thou shalt take this rod in thine hand, wherewith thou shalt do signs. The subject of the above verses is Aaron as Moses' spokesman, and Moses as Aaron's spiritual guide. It seems that the rod symbolizes Aaron. But this rod is not the same rod that comes forth from Jesse. This rod is different.
Mate. Mate, a branch, as extending. Figuratively, a tribe. Also a rod, whether for chastising, figuratively correction, ruling, a scepter, throwing, a lance, or walking, a staff, figuratively a support of life. Example, bread.
Here we see the rod of correction, and figuratively, bread. Consider this. 1 Corinthians 10 verse 1. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant, how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea. 2. And were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea. 3. And did all eat the same spiritual meat. And did all drink the same spiritual drink. For they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ. In the verses from Exodus above, we see the bread of life, the living water, the rock, and the rod, the branch. This rod is the rod of Micah. Micah 6 verse 9, The Lord's voice crieth unto the city, and the man of wisdom shall see thy name. Hear ye the rod, and who hath appointed it? This rod is the branch, the appointed one, who carries Yahweh's name. He is mentioned again here. Psalm 74 verse 1, Maskil of Asaph. O God, why hast thou cast us off forever? Why doth thine anger smoke against the sheep of thy pasture? 2. Remember thy congregation, which thou hast purchased of old, the rod of thine inheritance, which thou hast redeemed, this Mount Zion, wherein thou hast dwelt. The Hebrew for rod in verse 2 is a different word.
Shevet, Shebeth, a scion, that is literally, a stick, for punishing, writing, fighting, ruling, walking, etc., or figuratively, a clan, etymology. From an unused root probably meaning to branch off.
This is the rod of iron, the branch, that smashes the heathen, like pots of clay. Psalm 2 verse 9, Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Yahshua himself declares it. Revelation 2 verse 26, And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. 27, And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. Yahshua is the rock, the rod of iron, the branch, the living water, and the bread of life. And as the dragon wishes to be the ruler, he comes disguised. Isaiah 14 verse 18, All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, everyone in his own house. 19, But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. These verses are addressed to Lucifer, and in verse 19, twig, which was interpreted as rod prior, is now branch, but it still means a green shoot. Lucifer, the serpent, is that other tree, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. He was a son of God, but he has fallen due to his pride, and his spite has made him determined to alter his future, which is destruction. He is the false branch. Returning to the parable of the prodigal son. 2 Kings 6 verse 6, And the man of God said, Where fell it? And he shewed him the place. And he cut down a stick, and cast it in thither, and the iron did swim. The Hebrew for stick in this verse is
It's a tree from its firmness, hence, wood, plural, sticks. Etymology, from H6095, King James Version. Plus carpenter, gallows, helve, plus pine, plank, staff, stalk, stick, stalk, timber, tree, wood.
It seems to indicate something larger than a stick, like a tree or a large piece of wood, even a bundle of sticks, but not a single small stick, as one might imagine from the translation. But always beware of signs or things in the scriptures that should grab your attention, for example, carpenter. This should remind you of these verses. Mark 6 verse 2, And when the Sabbath day was come, he began to teach in the synagogue. And many hearing him were astonished, saying, 3, Is not this the carpenter, the son of Mary, the brother of James and Joses, and of Judah and Simon? And are not his sisters here with us? And they were offended at him. But Jesus said unto them, A prophet is not without honor, but in his own country, and among his own kin, and in his own house. A carpenter takes a piece of wood, a tree in those days, and worked it into a finished product. That's the symbology of this parable. Grab onto the carpenter and the branch when you are sinking in the world and swim like a fish. Job 14 verse 6, turn from him, that he may rest till he shall accomplish, as a hireling, his day. 7. For there is hope of a tree, if it be cut down, that it will sprout again, and that the tender branch thereof will not cease. 8. Though the root thereof wax old in the earth, and the stock thereof die in the ground. 9. Yet through the scent of water it will bud and bring forth boughs, like a plant. These are the symbolic trees. The verses are talking about us and everyone else. Be a green plant and put your roots in watered ground. And even if the enemy cuts you down, you will survive. Furthermore, Zechariah 3 verse 8, Hear now, O Joshua, the high priest thou, and thy fellows that sit before thee, for they are men wondered at. For behold, I will bring forth my servant, the branch. This is Yahshua, H3091, Yehoshua, or Yahshua, Yahoshua. He is the high priest, the branch. This is the mature branch. Revelation 2 verse 7, He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God. This is the tree of life from the garden in Genesis, the rod in Exodus, the branch. He is symbolized when Noah checks to see if the flood has abated. Genesis 8 verse 11, And the dove came into him in the evening, and lo, in her mouth was an olive leaf plucked off. So Noah knew that the waters were abated from off the earth. Leaf is properly branch in the Hebrew.
Zait, H2132. Zahieth, probably from an unused root, akin to H2099. An olive, as yielding illuminating oil. The tree, the branch, or the berry. Olive, tree, oliveyard. Also, olivet. Ale, ale, from H5927. A leaf, as coming up on a tree. Collectively, foliage, branch, leaf.
So Noah received an olive branch, which is very important. Exodus 30 verse 24, and of cassia 500 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary, and of oil olive a hin. 25, and thou shalt make it an oil of holy ointment, an ointment compound, after the art of the apothecary. It shall be an holy anointing oil. Luke 7 verse 45, Thou gavest me no kiss, but this woman, since the time I came in, hath not ceased to kiss my feet. 46, My head with oil thou didst not anoint, but this woman hath anointed my feet with ointment. The word Christ is the English version of the Greek that was used of Yahshua. In the New Testament, Christos, anointed, i.e., the Messiah, an epithet of Jesus.